I always just wanted to interrupt this. You know I'm the host, and I'm back. It's your boy Mayhem. Will I let the counter actually run out? Yeah, let's see.
No.
Ladies and gentlemen, 2 minutes behind it is. Welcome to the 4-Letter Nerd. This is the adult show for geeks, produced by Kill the Sun Comics. That'll change in a bit. I'm today's host, Mayhem Mike.
Sir.
And we're going to talk about Pride Month. You know, normally I like to do this a little differently, so here's what I'm going to focus on him, don't focus on me. There we go. Hi, I'm Mayhem. And we're going to talk about the Pride Month. Yes, we is. Really quickly, if you don't know about the Pride Month, the purpose of this month is obviously to commemorate the people and the impact of lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender individuals who had a history locally, nationally, and internationally on our lives today. There's so many. And of course, joining me today, my host. Nah, let's not bring him in. Kat. Hi, Kat. How are you doing?
Hi.
It's a pleasure. I love your shirt.
Great.
Good.
Thank you. Got to represent some Star Trek, all my fandoms, because one of the things about all of us is our communities are very inclusive.
Yes.
And I love that. You can be weird, you can be queer. We'll love you just the same.
Right. A lot of people don't understand the impact every person does to every community, every person's life, every well-being. You'd be surprised. A lot of music, a lot of art, a lot of geekdom. It's not just me and you.
No.
It's all of we.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of all of we, I guess I should bring this guy in, Mr. Rossi himself.
Do you really need to? Because you throwing some shade over here. I'm just saying.
I finally realized
you need me
what you look like whenever you bring the microphone. He looks like one of those local news reporters. He's like, "What's going on, Reg?" Well, as you can see behind me.
As you can see behind me, Star Wars and Hot Wheels, they're hot right now.
But there's a delay generally. There's always a delay.
Well, it depends, because sometimes I bring it up and sometimes I just leave it down here. But when I really want to make a point, I bring it up to here so I can get my voice down low so you can hear the point being made. But
man, and it's very monotone fact. Anywho, let's get this started. We wanted to pay homage. We wanted to shout out to some of the great geek influencers of Pride Month. And who's gonna go first? I think Kat with the hat.
Before I begin, I would like to give a little recognition to this amazing hat that my friend Jamie Wilkins made for me. I usually wear them to Pride parades.
Nice.
I wanted to wear my Mama Bear shirt, but my son was like, "Please do not." So Star Wars it is. This is. We're going to have fun tonight because we always have fun, but it is a serious issue here. We are in 2022 and our queer brothers and sisters and everything in between are still under attack. And yeah, that sounds like a pretty serious word, but it's absolutely true. Their rights are being threatened daily. Their lives are being threatened daily. And just looking back in the research that I did on the character that I chose to talk about today, you can see how even people trying to have that kind of representation did it in a very, very flawed way. Like when we did for autism and we were talking about, Aquaman, and how they would rather have a character with autism over having an openly queer person because that was still rejected over at DC Comics. It's not a good thing, and here we are to this day and still pushing for them.
Right.
And as allies, that's our job, to push them forward. Everybody should be safe. Everyone should be free to be who they are authentically. And we got to do this all together. So now that I'm off my soapbox, I would like to speak about the character that I chose for today. If I can unlock my phone, thank you.
Ooh, drum roll, please.
Brrr. I chose DC's first openly gay superhero, and there's a reason why I chose this particular character. His initial showing was very problematic, as you'll hear as I describe it. But then with DC Rebirth, they had a queer author um, give him new life.
Mm.
And just to see how things have changed. And I don't want to use the word normalized because it hasn't been normalized. It's still a struggle.
Mm.
But just the difference in how the story is told from back then to now. So the person that I chose was Extraño. He is, he was introduced in 1988 when the Guardians of the Universe prepared Earth for the next stage of its evolution.
Mm.
And by endowing cosmic power upon 10 individuals who would shepherd humanity into a new era. His name was Gregorio de la Vega. He was a gay Peruvian stage magician, and he was able to conjure things, occultism, divination, illusion casting, and he became the leader of the Justice League Queer under DC Rebirth. So that's kind of pushing that forward. But as you can see, the difference in his look and his costume now, he was openly flamboyant. He referred to himself in the third person and called himself Auntie. He was
Mm.
used more as comic relief, very effeminate, um, not necessarily taken as a very serious character. And he was specifically brought out, as you can see here, to play a very specific just like with any characters that are like people of color or just different in any shape, they're like cartoonish versions of themselves, like extreme versions of themselves, and of course super problematic. uh, he fought villains named Snowflame, who gained powers through snorting cocaine, and another one who caused his death, called the Hemoglobin, who spread HIV to people.
Wow.
um
Wow. They got away with this? Did they
this
get
was They did.
How?
So New
How?
Guardians was canceled in 1989, and Extraño vanished along with it. But then there came in the shepherding of more gay characters: Obsidian, Infinity Inc., a member and son of the Green Lantern, Alan Scott, Tasmanian Devil, and Pied Piper, a reformed enemy of the Flash. And so, even though it was awkward and awful, he paved the way for a more diverse sexual representation throughout the DC universe. And now you look at, Batwoman and Justice League of America and Supergirl. They all have now queer characters. And in New 52 came out in DC Rebirth, there was a romance between Midnighter and Apollo. And so the author of that, he brought Gregorio de la Vega back. And if you go to the next one, I think the next one shows him what he looks like now. So the newer representation, he just dressed like anyone else. You don't have the flamboyance. You don't have the whole call me auntie. He's just a man, a queer man who ends up being married to the Tasmanian Devil of the Global Guardians, and they have an adopted daughter with wings called Suri that they're raising in Peru. And he'd kind of given up the whole superhero thing because of how everything went down and how everyone thought he had died from the HIV exposure through hemoglobin. I still can't wrap my mind around that. And then he was in Justice League of America as part of Vixen's newly founded Proactive Justice Foundation, and then he became leader of Justice League Queer, which is a group of queer superheroes that defend people who are not only being targeted just in general, but most especially for crimes against the queer community. As representation of a marginalized group matures, part of the growth process often involves a reckoning with symbols and icons used in the past. And this reckoning is resolved in one of two ways. They can cast away these symbols and icons, denying their power, or they can reclaim them, giving them new meaning. And that's something that I love about DC right now, is that they have decided that, you know what, we're going to lean in on this. Queer people exist. There are good ones, there are bad ones, just like everyone else.
Right.
And that is not that isn't the main focus of the story, but it is a focus of the story. Every superhero, we learn about their personal life, but that's not what drives the story. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? And by doing this, by having that representation and not using it for like pride points, I think that DC has really pushed ahead and been very openly doing very successful queer stories, and I am here for that. So that is my very brief wild story of Extraño.
I love this pants. So
Thank you.
I was like, yes. It was amazing. Thank you for that.
I still don't know how they got away with those
Those
villains,
villains, right?
bruh. As soon as you said the first time, I was like, that sounds like, oh yeah, that's exactly what I thought it was, and then it got worse from there.
It really, like, as I was reading it, I was like,
Expecting a big lawsuit, you know?
I just,
A big one.
I know that people didn't know better, but they did. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like the
They
times
knew.
only,
They knew.
and
They
it's freaking wild to me. And they had to fight for that character to be made because DC had a hard no against queer characters, and they finally get the allowance to do it. And this is what they do: have him fighting a
Yeah. You know
coke
what?
snorting villain. And
Let's not even give them any more energy. Let's move
amen.
on. Is that fine?
Yes,
I asked.
absolutely. Let's keep it going.
Kat, do you have any other characters that you want to share with us?
No, I just wanted to focus on that one.
All right, fair enough. Ra, son, God. Reg, tell me what you got. Show me what you got.
Did you say raw? Did you say it's raw? And you're like raw.
Ra.
You trying to put them their accent upon it. No, man, me don't do that. No.
I hate you for that, but I understand. Ra.
Hey, you said it. I was just that's what it sounded like to me, sir. I'm just saying.
You know
That's
what? I
it
hate
sound
you.
like to
Where's
me.
the delay? Where's the delay?
Button. I need the button. Push the button. Yes, I chose one character as well to focus on. He was one of the first characters that I knew to be openly gay in comic books. So that's why I chose him. And I also chose him because he's also one of those ones that is a no nonsense, not gonna take your crap type of person. And that's also why I like him because he's like, yeah, I'm gay. You're not going to make me not say I'm not, and you're not going to do anything about it because you can't. Mostly because he's one of the strongest mutants on the planet. So good luck with that.
Mm.
So who I chose is the sibling pair. Well, half of the sibling pair of the North Star and Aurora, Sir North
Mhm.
Star, Jean-Paul Barbier. And he
Yes.
is a mutant with hypersonic flight and speed. So imagine if Quicksilver could fly. So that's who I chose. And then also, when him and his sister hold hands, they send out this pulse of light that will blind and nauseate and disorient, well, anybody that sees it. So
Wonder
don't look
Twins
at it.
power activate.
Yes.
You know, yeah, they're kind of sort of that. Yes, a little bit, but they can do things on their own, and neither one of them turns into water, like a bucket of water or an ice cube or an ice tray, whatever silly things that
Hey,
young man did.
considering that ice cubes on the floor have caused many a slip up, don't be judging ice cubes like that.
Right.
I'm just saying, it's just
Gravity works.
one person turned into an awesome animal, the other one turned into water. Just saying.
I mean, are we really gonna justify the Wonder Twins right now?
I
Why
mean,
not?
y'all
And
brought
their
it up.
monkey? What was
I
their
mean,
monkey's name? Somebody tell me their monkey's name without looking it up.
Gleek.
I don't believe it. I'm
That
gonna
is
look
Gleek.
it up.
He's right. He's right. It's Gleek.
The monkey's name is Gleek.
Yeah.
What is a you know what? Whatever.
It's a geek with an L. That's what it is.
Yeah, it's fair enough.
Yes. No, I chose Mr. Jean Paul because he's always been at the forefront for, characters that are gay, for me personally anyway. And this scene right here, I chose this one specific. There was something happening to the gay community that he is in, and he figured this guy had something to do with it, and he wasn't talking. So what do you do when somebody's harassing and harming the people that you identify with, and he doesn't want to do anything about it?
You pull a
Right.
Fly
Con
them
Air.
to the stratosphere and then you drop them.
Yep.
That's what you do. You fly them to the stratosphere and you drop them.
I hope he cleared the landing.
He
Oh,
did not.
he
He did
did.
not.
But he pulled a Batman on him. He didn't drop him all the way.
Oh,
He dropped him and let him fall for a while. Because in this scene, he's like asking the question, "Where is this kid at?" And there's no air, so he can't talk. So he's like, "Oh, right, the atmosphere. Drop. Let me get you back down to the air so we can talk." So that strategy of I can drop you from up here and end you, but I'm not. So don't play with me. But he's always been one of those characters that like he's openly gay, but it's like it's not thrown in your face, but it's there.
Right.
And he is one of the founding members of the team called Alpha Flight, which at one point in time had a man that we all may know named James Howlett, aka Logan, aka the Wolverine. And he's just been a staunch person that he doesn't have to be like, in your face gay, like, boom, look at me, I'm gay. I'm only here because I'm gay. He's like, nah, that's not why I'm here. I'm here because I'm me. I have these powers. I fight for my
Right.
country because they believe in me.
Right.
I also happen to be gay and
yeah.
I identify as that.
It's
And
an
there's
nth
not a,
degree of what makes him who he is.
Right.
exactly. And
And
he's like,
that's, when you're doing things correctly.
that's right. And he's like, you're not going to stop me from showing pride in any of these things. And so, yeah, don't get in my way. So he is old school. He was created by Chris Claremont, which is one of the old school like OGs of comics from when I was growing up.
For X-Men.
And
Mm-hmm.
he's just one of those characters like the design is just it's been changing throughout the years, but it's been consistent but changing.
Right.
And he's just one of those awesome characters where I don't even know how to put this. He's there and he's like it's always been that no nonsense, no take no crap, take no shit from anybody attitude that
Yep.
I've always enjoyed about him. Some people may say he's sassy, yeah, and he's got an attitude, but he can back that attitude up.
I
You
think I just want to add really quickly. I think what they've done is they kind of moved away from the stereotypes that we've come to know, the general stereotypes we know of like being sassy, hand movements, being very flamboyant and all this other stuff. Um, and rather they're like you forget that there are people who are identifying differently than you and I that don't necessarily need to be loud to be heard. You understand? Or even to be respected. And John Paul definitely, when he speaks, you generally listen because he does have a temper, which is very common, but at the same time, he's very protective over his husband. That's from I think Dawn of X or maybe closer to Inferno. I forgot what arc series, which I love the new X-Men by Jonathan Hickman until he decided he was done. And I love how he expanded on characters. If you haven't, definitely check that out. John Paul is amazing. And it's funny that you say that because this shines that mutants or just anybody aren't just seen one way.
Right.
Not everybody has a Jean Grey or Storm or multiple love interests. So I'm gonna let Reggie speak.
yeah, so yeah, he's just that character that's always stood out to me. It's just like I've just always enjoyed anything that they've done with him,
Mhm.
and just the fact that like he is what he is, but once again, he doesn't have to have it to the forefront.
Right.
But I enjoy Alpha Flight stories because it's really great. And when they center around the twins, it's just always just this interesting story that's being told. And it's not just this one dimensional, oh, he's gay, she's not. It's a gay story or it's not. It's a North Star story. North
Right.
Star is going to do North Star things. He could be chilling. He could be doing superhero thing. He could be in a pride parade. But guess what? It's just a North Star story. It's not just
Right.
they don't focus on. Look, he's gay. Look, he's a gay superhero.
Right.
No, he's North Star.
Right.
He's almost as fast as Quicksilver on the ground and in the air. He's got all these amazing powers that he uses to defend his country, his friends, and his family and his teammates. Let's find out what he can do. And so that's what I enjoy about the character is just that it's not just a gay story with him. It is a North Star story, and that's the whole focus put behind any story that's told with him is just he himself. It just so happens that that's what he is. He
And
happens to
that's
be a
his
gay
business.
hero. That's right,
Mhm.
and that's his business. And for a while, everyone like hinted at it, like, "Oh, is he? Could he be? Maybe is that what he is?" And they didn't just like throw it out there, but you could see the hints that the people that were close to him, they were like, "Oh, okay, okay, I know this, but it's not my place to talk about it." When it's time, he's gonna tell people what's up, and
Right.
Right.
that's what he did. He's like, you know what? Fine. This is how I am. You don't like it? I don't care. I'm gonna do what I'd still do. You can't stop me. Get out my way or get on my side.
And I
Mm.
think it's important to make this distinction. There are flamboyant queer people, and there are effeminate male queer people that identify as male
Mhm.
and are gay. And there are emasculated women who, that it just runs the gamut. And there's nothing wrong with being any of those people. All of those people are valid and being true to themselves. What we are talking about here is in the distinction that we're trying to make here is that these people are being treated respectfully and not as caricatures like they do when they did with Asian people or people of color, where it was this over exaggerated stereotype to be
Right.
kind of thrown out there. So I don't want anyone to take anything away that there's something wrong with having a flamboyantly queer superhero. That's not the point that we're making here. What we're making here is that these people are authentic and their stories are driven by um, things that are not based around this caricature of their queerness.
Right.
So I just want to make that very clear in case anything that we've set up to this point might have been construed in a different way, because that's 100% not our intent. And please feel free to call us out on it if it is coming across that way.
Let us know.
Yeah, this is your space. We're trying to talk about it respectfully. So
How do you follow something like that, Kat?
all
Gee,
right.
like leave some of the amazing for the rest of us. True words couldn't be said, obviously. Thank you for sharing, Reggie. Thank you for sharing, Kat. Um, I guess I'm next. I didn't just choose one. I chose a lot. And you know what? Let's go through the gamut. The first one I was actually pleasantly surprised with was Iceman. Iceman, as of recently, has been drawn and shown to be gay. I forgot who his lover is, but he's rich and he's part, I think, of the Hellfire Club. And a lot of people had problems with this, and I'm just like, why?
They
What?
did.
And I'm just like, why? Because let's rewind the clock a little bit. When Cyclops, back when they tried to push the Inhumans, if I'm not mistaken, when Cyclops said that as a mutant he can have relations with whomever he wants, because he can't contract a sickness except obviously the legacy virus.
Yup.
Everybody was okay with that. It's like, oh, I want to be a mutant too, so I can sleep around with everybody. So now here it's happening. And it's just like, ooh, Iceman, though, and it's like, I got a problem with that. And it's crazy because they have a problem with that, but they don't have a problem with Jean Grey, who's back sleeping with
Again?
yeah, she's back and she's sleeping with Cyclops and Wolverine. It's hinted at.
Wait. I thought Scott. Oh no, wait, Emma dumped him after he killed Xavier. That's right.
And then on top of that, allegedly, she's kind of dealing with him too. So
Give us the tea. Give us the tea.
it's like, well, girl, if you haven't known, so I don't want to give away too much, but what appears to be happening is that the mutants, X-Men, have literally joined forces with Krakoa and have their own island. To which I was just like, yes! Before they had a part of San Francisco, then they had Magneto's, a comet,
Asteroid M.
Asteroid M, but they called it something else, and then Xavier's sister came and killed it. It was crazy. That's when they reduced the
Cassandra.
mutants.
Yes.
Cassandra. And then it was like no more mutants. And then fast forward, now they have their own island on Krakoa. They're able to revive people. I'm not going to tell you about that,
Dude.
but
When I heard about that, it was nuts.
it's an amazing story by Jonathan Hickman. But what's happening now is, like, when it comes to sexuality, it's a more open society, and it's readily accepted. Like Cyclops and Jean Grey have I say pad, but they have a home on the dark side of the moon, the livable part, and Wolverine can stay there, and things may happen, and it's okay. You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
into that, you know.
Sexuality is fluid. Get with it,
So
folks.
right. So just because it may not be something to your preference doesn't make it not okay. It doesn't make it immoral. It doesn't make it against a sin or anything of that nature. It's literally two people loving each other differently from you and I, or
Right.
from somebody else who may be watching this. You know. So I love the fact that technically they say he's gay, but if the history's canon, then he's technically bisexual. But we don't know
Maybe
what.
even Pan.
Right. We don't know what he fully identifies as. We just know that
Right.
he's dating a man right now, somebody who identifies as male. So,
And people get so bogged into, oh, well, originally they were this. People change.
100%. You're a
People
mutant.
change.
He's a mutant. He could.
Actually, with
Mhm.
Bobby, you could see it in most of his stories where if he talked about someone he was dating, the girls he was dating in the past, it was never a good relationship. It was always something going wrong, and he
Right.
could never pinpoint it. He
But
was
see,
always like, "We were good together for a while, and then things happened, and then I don't know, it just wasn't."
And
but
that's very real to life. People fight against their natural instincts because they're afraid of what their family and their friends will think, what society will do to them. It is still not safe to be openly queer in a lot of places. So, this story, it rings true. He was conflicted. He was fighting against something. He didn't want to consider it for whatever his personal reasons are. But now he's accepting and opening himself up to real relationships. And now he's in a successful one for the first time, maybe ever.
Looks like
it looks like it. We don't know. We don't know how it started per se, or maybe I missed the issue, but it looks like it's going great, and they understand each other, which is amazing because once again they use close to teenage characters to talk about a lot of different things and make it relevant to the, and I'm going to say quotation marks, normal person, which doesn't apply obviously. You know what I'm saying? The heteronormative story, or heteronormative
narrative.
narrative. There you go. That's what I was looking for. Um, so I'm happy for him. I'm happy that they're exploring this because he's not the only one. You know, we talked about the another character as well, what Reggie did. So it was just amazing. Let's move on. Shout out to Iceman. Mystique, yet another great example of what I was saying is like people didn't have a problem with it unless it was against a certain heteronormative narrative. So Mystique has been gay for the longest.
Hmm.
And technically, I don't know if she identifies as trans, but I think she could.
I think she'd be more non-binary, maybe.
Yeah,
I think so too.
because she
But
can be anything.
She can be whatever.
she can
Yeah.
be whatever, right? So she could be gay, she could be lesbian, she could be bisexual,
She can
pansexual.
present as male or female.
She can do
It's up to
whatever
her
she
choice.
right. It's whatever she wants to do. But when she was locking lips with whatever male protagonist, all right. When she did it with the female protagonist, particularly Destiny, who we know, all right. But when Iceman did it, it was like, oh no. And it's just like it doesn't work like that.
And that's always been the case. Women being queer has always been seen as sexy, and men being queer, not so much. And that's a piss poor attitude, I tell you. It's all sexy.
Right.
God damn it.
So Iceman and Mystique are kind of out of my list are like the 1-2 punch of X-Men. They've been very prevalent. They've been very iconic characters. Iceman has been elevated to an Omega level mutant within like the last couple of years.
As he should, King.
And then and Raven, or as you know, as a Mystique, has been shown in this story, a series of Jonathan Hickman, has been shown to be more prolific assassin, if you will, or espionage spy. So like they were like, yeah, you know her to shapeshift and whatnot, but you don't know how dangerous she really is. And when you read Jonathan Hickman's new X-Men, Dawn of X, and all that other stuff, you'll see, even to Inferno, you'll see how amazing she is. More so towards Inferno. I'm going to skip ahead to the next person because Mystique is just awesome, especially in the X-Men movies. Yet
I
again,
knew she was coming. I knew we were going to get her.
And if I may be so bold, this Harley Quinn is a great character. Her relationship and her love interest is a very controversial but realistic thing. The Joker beats her, okay? and probably forces himself on her at times, and she accepted because she's a victim of abuse, more than likely. It's not fully written out, but there are instances in which the Joker has forced himself, and I'm not saying that R word, has forced himself onto other women. You know what I'm saying? I don't think other men. I don't, but I know of women in stories. So he's got these tendencies toward other people. Why would he stop on Harley? Okay, and for a lot of people, it was cool, right? And then she started dating Poison Ivy, right? And granted, maybe the Joker wasn't fleshed out. Maybe people weren't reading into it as much as whatever. She started dating Poison Ivy, and people started pushing back a little bit because of the masculine nature, allegedly, or masculine energy they got from it. But they loved when it was drawn sexy, you know. Um, Harley Quinn, I think, being however she wants to identify, it seems she's lesbian now. Oh, I think that's the proper way of saying this, or maybe she's pansexual. We don't know. I think more or less not her sexuality needs to be discussed, but how she's a victim of abuse.
She's
And
definitely trauma.
right,
Definitely
Yes.
trauma.
and that is also something that's very fluid amongst everyone. You don't have to be gay, lesbian, heteronormative. You don't have to. You don't have to be just a type. It happens to everybody. It happens to everybody, and it's not talked about, and honestly, it's not dealt with as it should be. And I'm choosing my words very carefully because I don't want to incite anything. But Harley Quinn definitely for being on the Pride list because she's just an awesome character as well.
She is.
She's
I agree.
awesome.
I think she's pan. I would say she's pan over bisexual, which I think kind of falls under the same umbrella. But she reminds me of almost like a Constantine, or if you're a Doctor Who fan, Jack
Right.
Harkness.
Mhm.
Be with anyone as long as they're pretty enough. Like, doesn't matter what they are. Alien, human,
Hmm.
cyborg, don't matter. They cute
Fair,
enough.
fair enough.
She is a victim of severe trauma. There's no way she would have stayed with Joker that long if he had not mentally broken her, and that's, I believe, what he was doing when she was visiting him
Right.
as a doctor.
Right.
Yep.
And the relationship between her and Ivy is probably one of my favorite relationships, just period. And I think the biggest issue with Harley and Ivy's having that relationship is that so many people wrongfully worship that whole Harley Joker love story,
Right.
which
So
is
bad. So bad.
it's
it,
problematic, guys. I'm
it's
not
not
gonna yuck your yum, but it's problematic and just it's trauma based. It
It's
ain't.
it's not that good. It's not
It's
that
not.
good.
but they'll
It's
say
not a
they're
love story.
but they'll say it's fictional characters
If
But
it's a
then they get
fictional
upset
character,
when
then
we
why do
bring
you
it
have a
up.
tattoo of them on you?
because
Mm.
it's relative. Let's go. Let's move forward. I don't want to get on my high horse. Just
Why
yet.
are they your wedding cake toppers then? If they're
Ah,
fictional characters,
yeah,
let's normalize not loving trauma-based romances. Let's
Yes.
normalize that.
fair enough. So
Still one of my favorites.
Jonathan Kent, when he came out, and honestly, I haven't read him being into a relationship with a girl, so I'm going to identify him here as gay. And it's obviously it could change. Somebody could retcon what I'm saying, or somebody could easily point out they were in their tidies of whiteys.
Who did this upset? Because I love the way DC did this one. They didn't
The
say
heteros were
Connell.
upsetteros.
They didn't say
That is amazing.
Connell or Jonathan Kent. They said Superman is gay. They left it at that. The flames that I saw erupt on the internet. I'm like, bruh, get over it. Superman can like whoever. And Lois Lane and Superman. Whoa. Oh
He's
my
an
god.
alien.
Exactly,
Everything
he's
is
an
foreign
alien.
to him,
Get
guys.
that aneurysm back
But
under
he
control.
looks like a human.
He a alien though.
The
I was
heteros
like,
were
dude.
upsetteros. I love
The
it.
heteros were upsetteros.
But this isn't the first time I didn't include this person on my list. But remember, Tim Drake's Robin was also identifying as bi. And you know what? Not for nothing. If you're in spandex all the time, I can see it happening. And honestly, no. And hear me out. If we're gonna be real, one of the big things, and big shout out to my fraternity brother, who introduced me to the world and educated me a lot. Um, one of the things is too, like, sometimes you want to explore. You get tired of certain things, you get tired of the normal, the narrative, whatever, and you do other things. You don't think Batman is bi? you know, I think he's experimented. I think at some point in time, it's just because he sells so well, they don't refuse to write a story in that. He's sleeping with a lot of women. I mean, recently he's kind of tied to Catwoman. They're not officially married, but he's tied. But like he slept with a lot of women. You don't think he got tired of like maybe sleeping with all these women and just said, you know what? Bane is looking kind of chunky today, or however, maybe he wanted to try something new. Whatever. I'm making it a joke, but at the same time, I wouldn't put it past him and I would totally accept him as he is. Jonathan Kent is what I would deem gay until proven otherwise. And I think it's great, because not all powerful superheroes have to be straight.
Right.
Not all popular heroes have to be straight. Let that baby talk. She can talk. And I think this was great because now people have to accept it. Yeah, you can stop buying the comics, but that's not going to stop it. They tried to do that with Miles Morales because he wasn't the Spider-Man Peter Parker because he was black and Puerto Rican. But guess what? Miles is still here. Let's move on to the next one, shall we? I don't want to get on my horse. Every time I try to leave the horse comes here, and here I am. Whoo! Kat, do you know who this is? Because Rod doesn't know this.
That's Lestat.
Nope.
No, it's from the Vampire Lestat, but I don't remember his name.
It's from Interview with a Vampire.
Yeah.
From the series by Anne Rice. Yes.
I don't remember his name. I know it's Antonio Banderas, and
yes,
I know that, but I can't remember his name.
Do you want to pass it to Reggie one more time?
Reggie, do you remember?
Granted, I've watched this movie twice, but
just twice?
I still don't know who he is.
Armand.
Wait, Armand. Yes, I know who he is and where he's from, and
so back in the 90s, where we were all buying like Anne Rice books, and I'm forgetting all like those big bestsellers from the New York Times, whatever. We had Interview with a Vampire, great movie. Tom Cruise, Antonio Banderas, Brad Pitt, with Kirsten Dunst, to name a few. I forgot the whole cast. It was an amazing movie. I wish they came out with a part 2 if possible and continued it. But they also hint upon vampire sexuality. Kind of like the hidden undertones, especially in games, is that vampires are generally pansexual or bisexual.
I would say pan.
I would say pan for sure. So, but they always got great hair. I mean, like you look at Antonio right there, like that man looks beautiful. That I don't know, and it's funny too because if I could be so bold, hairdressers, right? Hairdressers and makeup artists are like rare in Hollywood, right? They, especially in certain movies or people of color, they don't get it right. This man looks beautiful. He came into my house and said, "I would like to drink your wine," and I'd be like, just spare the kid. You know what I'm saying? Like, like spare the kid. And if you gotta take the lady 5, but come on, he's beautiful, and it really encapsulates that aura of mystery and sexuality.
And look at his set. Look at that set.
Yes, I was gonna say that, but those nails. Oh man, Antonio, I'm sure you've heard this. If you literally put a concert on with just that look, you could just say one thing and we would flock. We would flock. We would just. I'd throw my man bun at you, like take it.
And Antonio Banderas had such an elegance about him.
He did. He does.
In that role.
Had.
When I say had, I'm talking about
movie.
He played this role specifically very effeminately.
Yeah.
There is a fluidity and a grace that he does in this role that I have not seen every single movie that he's put out since then. But I would say 99% of the ones that I have seen him in, he's not walking around like this. So that's what I'm speaking to specifically. The way that he played Armand.
That man is sexy. I'm sorry, he's
And you
beautiful.
could see why he was the most uh, beloved and like everybody was in love with him in the books.
So I just want to add on that once again, when it comes to vampires, you can even look at Castlevania. Look at some of the way they draw the
Mhm.
characters. You know, sure their skin is milk white, but their features are definitely, I would say, effeminate as to hint their pansexuality. You know, Alucard for sure. I was like, Alucard, what's going on with you, brother? You know, all right, I'm with you either way. Let's move forward. We got to kill your pops,
Oh my
Yeah. James.
Yes! Team Rocket in the
Jesse
house.
James. You know, there's fan art of them getting married and having children, which I think is beautiful. It's a beautiful idea. There's fan art of them of being related, like brothers and sisters, and acting like brothers and sisters, kind of deal. And then there is just James is actually just gay and evil, technically in the Pokemon world, and I love that for him because first of all, he's stylish, and I think he takes after his big brother, Tuxedo Mask. He's always coming out here with the rose, and he's just and he's always out here with the class, you know, and he's the funniest. Honestly, Meowth is funny, but I think James is the funniest.
This is true.
Um, it
And
hasn't been good.
I said, and fun fact, most people believe that James is a better Pokemon trainer than Ash. Because
Yeah.
Ash, he does his traditional go out, fight the Pokemon, catch it, make it yours. Every single Pokemon that James has, he said, "Hey, do you want to be my Pokemon?" They said yes. Every single one he's got. He didn't battle them. He didn't do anything. He's like, "Hey, you want to be my Pokemon?" And they all were like, "Yeah, yeah, I'll be your Pokemon. You're a cool guy."
Further proving consent is
Mm,
key.
fair enough.
This
Consent
is
makes
true.
for better relationships.
I love Digimon better than Pokemon anyway. I feel like Pokemon is really just taking taking creatures and making them your slaves. But you know, we're gonna move on from that. It's not about them. Uh, it's the truth. And you know what? I'm mad at Ash anyway because he
Gotta
left
release them
Pidgey
all.
buttered free. Like, come on, man. You let them all go. You could have went back for them at some point. Anyway, supposedly he's dead anyway. It's not confirmed. It's not confirmed, but I think it's fair to say it's heavily hinted at. And you know, in anime, what I will say is, although the sexuality undertones are generally prevalent and present, you know, you can kind of tell, like when they want to draw or have an artist in a certain way. They may not say, but they know. You know,
the beach scene.
if
The
if
beach scene.
if Pokemon was an R-rated um, anime, I think we would definitely have our answer, and hopefully it wouldn't be in a non-violent way, you know, because sometimes it gets very actiony and whatnot. But you know, we would have our answer, and it'd be dope. You know, I'd love the fact. I love that for James, and even if he's not gay, the fact that he has such flair. I'll stay away from the flamboyant. Just flair about him in class. It's amazing. Let's move on. To the next person.
Yes.
So when I got the list of what we were doing this week, of course, him, which is so ironic from Powerpuff Girls, had to make it. Who speaks like this? But then when he gets angry, he talks like this. Like, that's my best impression. Technically identified as transgender, and still with those, I want to say thigh high boots. Amazing, amazing. This character was amazing. If you haven't checked out Powerpuff Girls, definitely do so. Him was a great character, and it's funny because we all loved him in this, and I don't understand why, but nothing else. But it was just like he was powerful. In fact, he was the powerful villain for the Powerpuff Girls to face, and he was just awesome.
He
In his
was.
little sexy Santa suit.
Ah, I just loved his entrance and the red couch he was generally on. Let's move
Mm.
on to the next person, please. It's a Disney movie, so
Mhm.
technically no. But here's some interesting thing I found
Is
out
this
about
the
herself.
theory?
If you look it up, the writers were influenced by Harris Glenn Milson,
Oh, right, the drag queen.
Yes.
the
Right,
drag
right.
queen of all time, Divine.
Divine.
And I don't know too much about Divine, but I know Divine had a crazy impact on the LGBTQ community.
Sure.
He was definitely in a lot of acting roles. He was in Roman Candles, Eat Your Makeup, the Diane Linkletter story, Mondo Trash Show, Multiple Maniacs, Pink Flamingos. This may not mean anything to you, but I know some of it because my grandmother had some VHS tapes which I weren't allowed to see because I was so young at the time, and I remember two of the movies from here. And if you look at their influences, it's crazy. Now, let's talk about Ursula. You poor unfortunate soul.
You poor unfortunate soul.
Sing it. Ariel, she ain't do nothing to you. She told you what it was, and she told you to read the contract. And much like everybody else who used Facebook and accept the terms, you did it. You did it. So you
You
got what was
accepted.
coming to you got what comes. She was a fair bargain. She just did a little bit more to keep her end of the bargain. You know what I'm saying? To keep whatever. But
She hedged her bets.
I will say this: Ursula is with the exception of Scar, animated wise, is probably in my opinion, the best villain of Disney. Now, unanimated, maybe Maleficent. Back to animated, maybe Cruella. Nah, Ursula. Ursula just had it, and you know what? She's charismatic.
But was she really a villain though? She
This
she
I was
told you to
about
read the
to
contracts.
I was
She
about
said,
to say
I am a
that.
sea witch. You know what I'm about. Read she told every single one of those mer people, read the contract.
If I
Don't
could,
sign it if you don't like it.
before
This
Read
you
is
go
what I
on,
actually
want.
the origin story that I'd like to see. We've gotten Maleficent, we've gotten Cruella. Tell me how Ursula, because there is a theory out. I don't know if it's a theory or if
yeah,
it's canonical, but that she and Triton are actually siblings.
and that they got into beef, and then he turned her into an
Right.
octopus. Yeah,
So she is, I don't want to say what she did was right. All I'm saying is I understand the motivation.
listen, she's impactful. She's one of my favorite Disney characters of all time. And the fact that she was inspired by somebody who was in the community, who was like famous, you know what I'm saying, in the community history, like that's amazing to me. And we wouldn't know it unless we look into it. And that's the worst part about that is that I would say if you're a part of the LGBTQ and community and you're friendly, adjacent in a sense, you wouldn't know who inspired Ursula. You would just think, oh, they just came
If
up,
I if I remember correctly, the intention was to have Divine voice the character,
but Divine passed away,
right?
unfortunately. So, but still, I still think they should have said something about it.
Oh,
And maybe,
absolutely.
and maybe,
Agreed. Agreed.
maybe I missed it. Maybe it's in the credits later. I doubt it.
I
But
don't think it's part of the credits.
I don't think so either. Once again, it wasn't part of Disney's narrative at the time. That was my list. I loved making that list because I took a look back and I realized how influential those characters were. Shout out to Ursula. I'm sorry. I love evil characters that have substance to them. You know.
She's not evil. She's just misunderstood.
Okay, Jessica Rabbit.
I was about to say she's not evil. She's
She's
just
drawn
that
that
way.
way. Thank you to the people of the LGBTQ community continuously for your efforts, for your activism, for your friendship, for your partnership. Shout out to I don't know if he wants me to say his name, but shout out to my fraternity brother. It's been a while since we talked, but I've always enjoyed having you as a brother. I've learned so much from you. Thank you for including me in your community and your events. I got to see the houses battle in West Fourth when it was big. First time ever. We've had great shows come out of it. What was the stupid show? Oh my god, was it Raise? Oh my goodness, I'm gonna mess it up. So there's a show about the LGBT community that came out, which was amazing. Obviously, we've had great
Are you talking about
people.
Pose?
Was it Pose? It might be Pose. I think there might be another one too, but I
With Billy
apologize.
Porter?
Yes, and yes. I'm just gonna say
Pose.
yes.
Okay.
We've had great contributions in fashion, in music, in all aspects like activism. So thank you. This month is for you, and we wanted to recognize you for sure. I'm gonna shut up now and let the others speak. Thank you for your time. Thank you for my TED talk.
Now, what exactly are you expecting us to follow that with, sir? You just ran down that list and just spouted your
You said all you said.
awesomeness.
I was trying to be like Mia. Mia was like, be like Cat. And Cat was like, be like Reggie. And I was like, maybe not Reggie. I'll be like Cat.
Bruh.
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 Sir. Sir.
um, Reggie, is there
Oh,
something that you wanted to say?
I want to. Reggie, speak on this.
Oh, Lafayette and True
Ooh.
Blood.
This woman,
Amazing.
she loved, like, she showed me the scene that made Lafayette, like, be as popular as he is. She
Oh, the
showed me that
restaurant
scene,
scene.
and yes, the restaurant scene. I was like, bruh, okay, I see why you love this character. And yeah, she had he still been alive, she would have probably gone to any comic convention that he would have been at,
Yeah.
and she just loves him. He is her favorite character from the show. I don't even know much about True Blood. I just know it had like 3 spin-off shows, but had Lafayette been in any of the other shows, she probably would have watched him even more fervently than she already did. But she loved that character, and yeah, she's just never gonna let him. Never
La-
gonna let that go.
I watched True Blood all the way up until the end. I won't go into like it, but like if you're a fan, Lafayette. It's like when Donald Glover left Parks and Recreation. It's like when he was no longer on the show. It was still interesting to an extent, but like that extra
That
sauce we needed
that
was gone.
pizzazz.
Was gone. He was an amazing actor. Lafayette was an amazing actor, and I would have loved to meet Lafayette 100% in person, just to meet and see him in work. Once again, I'm done talking. This is my TED talk.
You're never done, sir, and that's okay. That's okay. Be who you are. Be who you are.
Reggie, did you want to say anything?
Um, no, I am all tapped out. It's just, well, yes, and I say that, but I'm gonna be like Mayhem. Oh no, I'm done talking. But by the way, well, no, yeah, it's just, it sucks for the way that the community is treated, and my oldest kid is a part of it. Him, they and their partner are, and the fact that they have to keep it hidden and they can't express themselves the way they want to. And I've got this really awesome friend who's a part of it, and his cosplays and his drag, and it's awesome. And I just want to see these people not have to hide from the rest of the world, because I can see them as these flowering, glowing, wonderful creatures that they are. And I'm like, go forth and shine. And they can't shine. They can kind of sort of glow. They can kind of sort of flick the light switch here and turn it on here, but they can't shine the way I know they want them to shine. I want them to shine the way that these characters that we talked about today shine in their books and in their shows, and just shine and be that bright light that I know they can be, and not have to be hidden behind the veil of, yeah, yeah.
It definitely was Pose. I don't know where I got raised from, but whatever. Billy Porter, by the way, amazing.
Yes, I love that show.
Amazing. I need
That
to
show is
finish
amazing.
it. Anyway,
Anyway,
he's on
uh,
Sesame Street. Killed it.
his fashion is
Killed it. Oh,
everything, everything. His aesthetic, he's amazing. Um, as a mother of two very out and queer children, this, of course, hits very close to home to me. But it did even before I was a mother to queer children, because I've had some very amazing people in my life, some that are no longer with us, that showed me what grace and beauty really is when someone is authentically true to themselves. And I hate that we live in a world where people hate you just for existing. Um, Shout out to everyone that pushes that boundary. Shout out to everyone that protects their kids and the kids of others. I'm part of Free Mom Hugs. I do prides. I've been doing prides for over 20 years. And that community, that's how we grow, and that's how we move forward. We take care of each other regardless of whatever happens. And a special shout out to the people who were out and queer before it was safe, as safe
Mhm.
as it is now, for a lot safer now than it was back then, who took the chance and showed us with their grace and their strength and their bravery that they are here and they are here to stay. And everyone else just needs to put on their big girl and big boy and big and be panties on and deal with it. And especially to our indigenous and people of color and the queer community, who are still vastly underrepresented and targeted at a misproportionate amount over anyone else. I hate this for you, but I will not stop fighting for you, for all of us. And finally, when you're going to your pride parades and celebrations and waving your flag as an ally, remember the first pride was a riot.
Well, on that note, this has been the Four Letter Nerd, the adult show for geeks, produced by Kill the Sun Comics. I'm today's host, Mayhem Mike. Joining with me was Coco Melon in the background, but obviously Rasanga and Kat. Thank you very much for tuning in. This was our Pride episode. Please enjoy the rest of your evening. Until next time.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.